Over the next 2 days, we will be invited to participate in a very important conversation about how we, as communities of all shapes and sizes, can move from isolation to connection. This social summit creates a space for community practitioners, innovators, and change agents. And that's all of us here today.
I didn't know I wanted to come to a summit like this until it was announced, and I started paying attention to this phrase, isolation to connection. And I actually made it a point this weekend to just pay attention to how often that dynamic shows up in my life. And for 48 hours, I was pretty amazed at the volume and the variety of times that phrase made a difference. Listening to the news, reflecting on family and helping a struggling relative. Connection is the pathway to well-being. If you want a healthy community, you begin by building relationships and connections or preserving and enhancing those.
Many people describe this sense of isolation and disconnection from the people around them, and it has this really profound effect on our well-being.
It's attached to everything that we see.
When you start to say, this is only me, I'm alone out here, we forget those bonds that we have with others, and it really depletes our sense of well-being.
I think it's an overlooked issue that has a huge influence on our health.
When I think about the prevalence and the rise of anxiety and mental health issues, I attribute a lot of that to this sense of disconnection.
It shows itself through addictions, it shows itself in violence and unhealthy relationships.
Connections are becoming fewer and farther between. And to be honest, one of the culprits is electronics. We no longer have face-to-face, we don't touch each other.
We assume that we're better or we're connected, but we can't ever replace this face-to-face connection thing.
When people aren't connected individually and then they don't have the services that aren't connected, then what you do is, over time, it's just that disenfranchisement.
But it's also relevant, I think, to communities, to creating strong societies that can be resilient and respond to the needs of individuals, but also of groups.
This is the agora. It's Greek for space. It's often a market, it's often a public space, and I'm a political science graduate at U of A. And one of the best courses I ever took was about how change happens. And it always happens in spaces like this, where people connect to talk about important things, and they have a visceral commitment to doing something about it.
Every single person can make a contribution in this space. You just need to take one small step, that one little step, to challenge that disconnection, to bridge to other people, to find a common space, to lean in with curiosity.
Ignore all of that noise and focus on the essential things that make individuals healthy and that make communities healthy. And one of those is dealing with isolation, it's dealing with loneliness, and it's creating strong communities.
I think whenever we risk that kind of vulnerability, instead of people being driven away from us, they actually gather around us and say, thank you, me too.
All of us together doing it will make an enormous difference.